All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Great to have each and every one of you here with us today. Today, we are taking a look at creative self-expression. So I'm wearing my new shades. My husband kept teasing me because I kept losing my sunglasses. So I decided to wear my sunglasses for today. The future's so bright, I have to wear shades. All right. Well, again, welcome everyone. Today is November 9th, 2021. This is episode 130, and today we are going to be taking a look at trait 1 in quality 5. We're also going to be taking a look at trait 43. So we're going to be taking a look at creatively attracting society to a breakthrough. So we're taking a look at today. So before we get started, let's say hello to our panel. Let's start with Linda. Hey, Linda, welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. Happy to be here. And I'm going to creatively attract society without glasses.
I love it. Excellent. Well, welcome, Linda. Great to have you here. And Anna.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all and welcome.
Great to have you. Welcome. And Shelley.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here. I think this will be fun. Learning about creativity and breakthroughs. Can't wait.
Excellent. Well, welcome. And also Moxie is joining us here today. So say hello, Moxie. And my name is Karen Sherwood. And again, welcome to our BG5 Live. So let's jump in and take a look at creatively attracting society to a breakthrough. Again, we're going to be taking a look at two traits today, trait 1 in quality 5, as well as trait 43. So just taking a look at where we are. Oh, I wanted to remind you, if you want to get the trait of the day, if you want to see what the trait of the day is, you can go to our website at bg5businessinstitute.com/BG5-live. And if you scroll down, you'll be able to subscribe and you'll get a daily email giving you the trait of the day. So if you want to follow along with the trait of the day, that's how you can do it in between our Tuesdays. So welcome. And encourage you to check that out and become a part of that. All right, so where are we? We are in November, and November's purpose is fulfilled through transformation. So we took a look at alertness. Today, that's what we took a look at last week. Today, we're going to take a look at creative self-expression. So we're going to be taking a look at creativity rooted in unique direction. We're also going to take a look at breakthrough. We're going to take a look at breakthrough in the 43, which is insight, listening to your own inner voice. All right, so that's what's going to be coming up this week as well. Next week, we'll take a look at power skills in the 14. Then we'll take a look at personal power in the 34. Then we'll take a look at focus in the 9. So one of the things that you will notice about this week, as well as the next couple of weeks, so the majority of weeks here in November, it's all about our personal power. It's about individuality. It's about expression. So today we'll take a look at that creative self-expression and breakthrough. So we still are in the current environment with the 34-2 in personal power with momentum. Again, the power that grows when victory is in sight, the ability when victory is in sight not to lose perspective, or the power for growth limited by impatience. So a tendency to be emotionally carried away by the smell of victory. We are also in contemplation in the dogmatist, which is the restrictive and intentionally limited understanding. So the restrictive awareness of the now, the limitation of personal and exclusive, the personal limitation, if personal and exclusive, is less negative through aesthetic withdrawal, or the gift through expression of leading others down a narrow and restrictive path. The power to lead others down a narrow path. So again, we might be recognizing that in the background. And again, it's going to be, we're still going to be remaining in the 34 and 20 till the middle of January. So just be aware of that. Remember, it also creates that strength of charisma. So again, if you're feeling busy, right? There's a reason for it. It's part of the background frequency as well. So let's jump into today's theme. So today's theme is creative self-expression. So it's uniqueness, it's creation as a primal force. It's the energy potential to manifest inspiration without limitation. So it's the individual expression fulfilled through interaction, right? So in interacting with others, you get to uniquely express yourself. And it's a drive and a deep need to focus on expressing yourself in unique as well as creative ways. And when you're happily absorbed in doing your own thing, you are not aware that you are attracting the attention of others. You are simply doing what you love, loving what you do, and others are looking, going, wow, that's amazing, right? So when you are absorbed in your own creative process, you don't even realize that you're attracting attention. And as you exemplify new ways of expressing your authentic self, you empower others to consider new perspectives or new ways of being in the world. You know, this is the first trait. This is pure creativity. And pure creativity can inspire others. Again, simply by doing what you're doing, you can inspire others to do the same. And you may even challenge their creative direction or other people's creative direction. So your creativity inspires others through example. And for your impact to be properly felt, it must be seen or heard to be appreciated and invited. So it is a projected trait, meaning that it does need to be recognized and invited. And once it's recognized and invited, that's when it can really share the fullness of what its creativity is all about. So I would love to hear from our panel as far as your experience with this creativity. I think, Linda, you have this as a trait in your design. I would love to hear how it shows up for you. You have it in your values, and you actually have trait 1 in quality 5.
Yes, yes, I love it. And I can really feel how it plays out. Because people that know me a long time, I always wear those big earrings, as you can see. I always walk on high heels. I always match what I wear with my makeup in colors. And I love to be really creative in designing my house. And yeah, matching things up. Doing things in my own creative way, and also in working with people, and also creating a website or other things. I really love to share my inspiration, my creativity, who I am. And yeah, that's just, and I often hear from others that they get inspired, and I don't even know, I just like the way I dress, or I just do the things my way, and then people say, wow, you always are so matchy, and I feel like, yeah, but that's me.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Linda.
Yeah.
And I know Shelley and Anna, neither of you have the one, but I would love to hear your experiences or what you see, or if you've come across others that have the one, and your experience or insight with people who have trait 1.
I have, my daughter has the 1. She has the whole strength, the 8-1. And talk about matchy and the earrings and all that stuff. Since she was in preschool, she's always been a fashionista. You know, I mean, she's not trying to do it. She just loves how she's an artist, really. And a lot of it comes through makeup and clothes. And I mean, she would set trends in her little preschool with stuff she would wear. And now, and then, you know, she would draw and she would write. And she has this tremendous creativity that she wasn't really aware of why it was so valuable or how she affected other people. she would just sort of be that way, and then everybody would try to dress like her or write like her or imitate her. It's been fascinating to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. What a great example. And even at such such a young age as well. Love it. How about for you, Shelley?
Yeah, I don't have any of this, but my husband does, and so does our grandson. And our grandson, again, he's only about 8 years old right now, and he's gone to school with his hair multiple different colors. He changes it every week, and other kids are kind of follow him along in that as well. Seeing this play out in my husband over the lifetime we've spent together. Everybody knows him as that creative genius. He's also got the 43-23. So but he's not kind of not a fashionista by any sense. He was a jock, so he just always wore jock clothes. So maybe he did set a trend for wearing rugby pants. That could be it. But for him, he's aware of it. I'm thinking it must be conscious. It is conscious in him. And so he knows when he's about to have a creative burst, and he'll go, oh, just got to go and ponder this for a bit. And then his creative expression will come through. And I've learned a lot of this from him because I don't have it. He taught me how to do desktop publishing and graphic design because he learned it from, he has it naturally, but he also learned it from other people, and he taught it to me. So having it open, I was able to be conditioned in a good way and learned a bunch of skills in how to do that just by hanging out with him and having him. He's got a really good eye for really good design. He can tell you when something's off, and by a pixel, he'll tell you, nope, move it this way. So that's been a really a real keen thing I've noticed. And much like you, Linda, I love how your presentations that you do in your assignments in class are like over the top creative. I like bringing new things in and creating new things, but I'm more about getting them in some kind of ordered, organized fashion. They look okay, but only because I learned from my husband how to make them look a little pretty. But Linda has like this full constellations and background images, and yours are really amazingly beautifully done. So I feel that difference in having that natural ability and that trait. And I'm thinking that my best friend in high school must have had this too, because we were seen as the trendsetters in our high school. We were the ones, but I was kind of following her along. She learned how to sew at a really young age. So we would go buy clothes that we liked that were popular, make a knockoff of them, and take the clothes back to the store and start a trend in the school where people, anyway, so I'm guessing now that that's how I came to be part of that. Wasn't me, it was her, and I was hanging out with her.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I'm curious if there's anyone currently present in our Zoom room who has this trait that would like to share. Looks like we have, I saw a hand go up real quickly.
Sarah and Suzanne.
And Susan, yeah.
Sarah, she has the 8-1, channel 8 personal 1 design. So there are two people.
Great. Well, Sarah or Susan, let's start with Sarah. Would love to hear your experience of having trait number 1 in creative self-expression.
Okay, sure. So they're pretty powerful planets too. I think it's Sun and Moon. But I'm pretty new here. The first thing I thought of is I talked somebody into having their own business, and they told me years later how it was my words that did it. So I thought maybe that creative, but I've always had the art award in New York City in 4th grade, but I've never pursued.
Yeah. So it sounds like it is in what we call, with the sun, we call it the core essence. So it sounds like the 1 is part of your core essence as well. Oh, I think we lost your sound.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
It's the design Moon that is
okay.
The 8 is the sun and the 1 is the moon from the design.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the 8 is
Exactly.
both. The 8 could also actually also be on the design side. I'm not sure, but at any rate, but I always thought I could draw. You know, I always felt that I could draw, but for whatever reason, I never thought I could get by materials. Blah blah blah. It's a big family, so But as far as that goes, you know, and I still draw, but you know, I just don't do it professionally in any way. And yes, my sister copied what I wore once. But I have picked that up every now and then. People like what I wear and they might try to copy it. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Sarah. It's great
Sure
to
thing.
have you join us.
Thank you.
And Susan.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Hey, Susan.
Hi, good. Nice to see you guys again. Yeah, no, this has been throughout my life. I wasn't aware of it, though, until I was introduced to my BG5 training. I had no idea, really wasn't paying attention to what it was doing for me in my life. But as a child, we had a basement in our house, and I used to spend hours doing my own thing down there, painting, drawing, expressing, music, like all of it. And you know, I'd come up and my parents would love it because I'd be, you know, entertained for forever. And then I'd say as an adult, I'm starting to realize that it's a little bit more about, you know, I use it a lot in business. You know, I'm always the one with the new idea, the new way of doing something. I'm also, like some other people on here, often giving new creative inspiration or ideas to other people. So I don't remember who it was said that, but there was like, your words were the ones that made someone head in a direction to launch a new business. And that's something that I find that resonates with me as well in my experience, that I'm often giving people sort of a new perspective or a new way of looking at something. And in doing so, they wind up coming back saying, you inspired me this way, you know? So, but I hadn't really ever, you know, like I said, put it together until I was exposed to this. So it's been great.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Susan.
Thanks.
I love all the creative self-expression today, right? Thank you so much for joining us. And I think I see another hand, Rebecca. Oh, let me make sure you're, try that. Hey, Rebecca. There we go.
We're
Hey,
good.
Rebecca.
Okay, hi. That was easy. So I have the one, I think it's 1-1 unconscious. And when you're talking, I'm going, so this really applies in how I view my professional life. I'll come across new modalities and I'll go, they seem really off the beaten path. But I leave the world of possibility open and try it if it resonates. And if the results are positive, then I go, yep, there's something really powerful here. And it's really fun to engage with somebody else who does kind of what are considered off the beaten path modalities, but are extremely powerful. And that's how I found BG5.
Yes,
Off the
exactly.
beaten path, but it's really powerful.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rebecca. And Rebecca and I have modeled in a makeover magic show. So so being able to perform on stage as well. So I do have the trait 1 as well. That's why I'm dressed up like this today. So I have trait 1 in what's hidden, and it's also in quality 4. So quality 4 is aloneness as a means of creativity. And it's interesting that when I put together the classes, when I put together the presentation, I need to have space by myself. Where I'm most creative is if I can put together the pieces by myself and then be able to share it with others. So so I love this trait 1. I love all the creative self-expression. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. It's really fun to hear all of you as well. Now, some of you may not have the trait 1, but you have 8 on the other side. I happen to have both the 1 and the 8, but you may have the 8 on the other side and may not have the 1. So I wanted to talk for a moment of how you get affected when you are connected. So again, it's the shadow of trait 1, and it's when you don't have trait 1, and especially if you have trait 8 on the other side. So this can be a lack of innovative creativity. So if you have trait 8 but not trait 1, you may always be searching for creative inspiration, and you may always wish that you are more creative. The problem is that you want to create your own work to promote, but you get frustrated because you can't find the creative inspiration that you seek. And you may beat yourself up for not being creative. And you may get upset when you don't have anything to promote or a way to contribute. Because this is all about contribution, trait 8. So you're driven to what is novel and what is innovative, but you may attract other people's attention, but you may feel that you lack the creative means of your own self-expression. So the solution is your role is as an agent and not as the artist. So you are designed to promote the new, the innovative, and the creative work. So one of the things when you have one of the traits, but you don't have the other, it's really about connecting, and you naturally attract people who have the trait on the other side. And so if you only have trait 1, you may feel very creative, but not able to promote yourself. And on the other side, the 8, you may be able to promote, but you don't have anything creative to promote. And so connecting up with someone who has that creative expression gives you an opportunity to be able to promote that creative expression. This is also one of the most powerful strengths within the penta, and a penta is a small group dynamic because it is the voice of the penta. This is PR, this is marketing, this is getting the word out about what the business happens to do. And without being able to share what your business does, it's hard to get business. So this is all about PR and connecting with others as well. So in a sense, in a small group, it is also, in a sense, the creative expression and the implementation of that creative expression out into the world. So that's what this one is all about. I don't know if any of you, including any our panel and as well as any of our guests, have any examples or things that you can relate to as far as having that shadow of not having trait 1 and not feeling creative.
I can speak to this. My son has the 8. Actually, my daughter and my son both have the 8. He does not have the 1, but he's always partnered with inspiration. He actually is very creative himself, but he doesn't always feel recognized for it. But he is the best agent. I mean, that's what he's landed in, is how to promote other people's work. And actually, he's getting job interviews and things like that for doing that. And he's become really good at it and very novel and very innovative, especially, NFTs and all that are really hot right now. He's just right in that space and very creative. And people, I mean, within 6 months, he's just gotten all this notice, partly because he's promoting other people. It's fascinating.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, really, really great example, Anna. Anyone else?
2 things come up for me, Karen. I have this completely open, and I think the way it works for me is I often hear people who are complaining that they have no creativity, that they don't think they can draw a straight line or paint a picture or color or anything. And often people think of creativity as being that artist. And one of the things I've noticed is that as I hear people say that, and maybe just because I've been able to experience it through, meeting many different people with the 8, the 1, and everything in between, it really jumps out at me. And I usually help them find where their creativity is, because creativity shows up in many ways in our design, but people kind of get stuck in their thinking about what creativity really looks like. And like some examples here have been, it can be about speaking about something, or just even being creative in the way you put things together, being creative in how you go about doing your work, being creative in how you make dinner, being creative in, you know, it shows up in all different ways. And so that's been something that, and I've also helped them then see that they can promote themselves through that creativity if once they start to recognize what it is. I've also got a new best friend in my neighborhood who has the full strength, the 8-1. And she moved into the neighborhood and converted her garage into a little artisan's gift shop. And as she's an artist herself, but she also promotes all the other artists in the area, like all over our island. So she's got something like 50 artists now displaying their work in her shop. And she's the one marketing and promoting them. She just got the idea to go on a local TV show for a little half-hour interview, and boom, she had tons of activity. So it's been really fun to watch her do that, even though she's totally unaware of this strength quite yet. I've been kind of telling her little bits of things, but, and we're going to do her design in the next little while here. But it was just fascinating to see that whole channel play out, that strength play out.
Yes. Wow. That's a beautiful story. I love that. Wow. Yeah. And one of the things to recognize is that if you don't have that trait, one of the things that you may find in the this week and the next couple of days is that you may be able to tap into more creativity for yourself personally, as it being a part of what's there in the background. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's take a look at today's quality. So today's quality is quality 5. This is the energy to attract society. So again, whenever we take a look at quality 5, it is the messenger. So the elevation is the power and the drive to stay with the creative process. This is ego endurance. Sometimes it's very individual, and sometimes individuals get criticized, right? It's new, it's different, it's unique. It's not what people are used to. The collective and the tribe have a suspicion of what's new and what's innovative. So sometimes it takes a little bit of ego endurance to bring forth what's new. So again, it's the power and the drive to stay with the creative process. And in staying with the creative process, you also then gain the energy to attract society. Now, it also can be eccentricity. How do you? Eccentricity. There we go. Eccentricity. Being eccentric. There we go. It's about being eccentric and being off the charts, right? So through, though attractive, will limit the drive, right? This eccentric way that can handicap endurance because it is so out there. It is so eccentric that people don't quite get it. That's on the other side. So I know, Linda, you actually have it in this quality. I don't know if you can highlight a little bit about what you see in having this in quality 5.
Well, I have it in the challenge. I don't feel like I'm that eccentric, but what I can relate to is that I sometimes keep on going, creating, and just losing my goal. Because I feel like, oh, it can be nicer. I can also add this. I can also do this. And then I'm thinking, oh, what was I doing again? It's not about the whole package. It's also about what I'm delivering. So I can understand that it can handicap endurance, because then I'm just losing myself in the creative process and doing things that, I'm not supposed to do. And I have to turn back to my expression. Oh my goodness, yes, it's amazing. And I always also was thinking about, it's also hearing you all talk about it. It can be so many ways. Even in talking I also played the flute in playing music, just creating your own style. It's amazing. And with that, you attract society. And what I really feel, because I also am a messenger in my profile, in my public role, I feel like I give people permission to be themselves. I draw their, and that's maybe also what I do with the eccentricity, that I just kind of make the creative self-expression of my client bigger. I just make them, like they see like this picture, I show them, like I highlight everything they have. So I just give them a boost of, don't you see how wonderful you are? And you have this, and you have this. And then I just, like I'm dressing them up, and they feel like, okay. And I say, wonderful, yes. So maybe that's, I don't know if that, but that's what comes to mind,
Yeah.
taking a look at this.
Exactly. And I think what Shelley said earlier, I think is really key to understand as well. I know, Yvonne, you were saying I have one in a defined function, but I'm not really creative, I think, but I sometimes combine things so that it matches, and it bothers me when things don't match, right? So even though it may, again, we typically think of creativity as painting or dancing or, you know, dressing really wild or whatever that happens to be, but creativity can simply be being you. Ultimately, that's what it's about. We are each very, very unique. And when you can fully embrace whatever your uniqueness is, that creativity comes out in whatever way. You know, especially if you're a natural, right? If you have a 2 in your public role, and you may think, oh, well, that's not creative. And then people call you out going, wow, that's brilliant. That's amazing that you can do that. And you don't even see it as something creative, and it may be. She says, haha, I have. Exactly. Right. So people will call out your creativity. You may not see that creativity for yourself. I love that. And Nani was saying, I don't have the 1, yet I do have the 8, and I've experienced many 8-1 electromagnetics. I definitely see the patterns. I wonder how those with 1 experience the melancholy about not being seen as different. That's a really great question as well.
I can speak to that because, like I said, my 2 kids have the 8-1, and 1 has the whole strength. And they've both been through that creative melancholy process, but 1 feels less acknowledged than the other. But the energy can get driven internally and sort of go deep. And as I've spoken to them and let them know, that's perfect, that's fine, to let that low energy, that mood will move forward. It does not have to go into depression. It does not have to go into low self-esteem, even though it goes in all those places. It can move through those things. So the melancholy, they're starting to learn that the melancholy is part of the creative expression, is part of energizing the message to society. And that's, you know, I just see them interact with each other. It's fascinating.
Yeah. And that melancholy is really a really good point too, because anything that's individual has an element of melancholy to it. And it can also be part of your creative muse. It's really what gets you to, in a sense, the depth to be able to tap into a deeper layer of creativity when you allow that melancholy to be there, to allow the self-expression to be there when it is. Because typically, again, when you have this stream of the individual, right? It's not there. It's not there. You don't know. You don't know. It's not there. And then all of a sudden it's there. So that melancholy allows you to get into it, because this is one thing about creativity. You can't control it, right? It's either there or it's not there. It's an on-off switch. And sometimes it can be very frustrating to know, again, even if you have the one, there are times where it's like nothing's happening. You're not creative. What's wrong? Where did my creativity go? I used to be creative. Why am I not creative now? Right? It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. And then boom, suddenly it's there. So it's something that you also have to be aware of with this particular trait, or if you have the strength of the 1-8 as well. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Nani, as well. Beautiful. Oh, I love all this creative interaction. So fun.
I just had one more thing to add, Karen, that came to me as you were talking, that I think having it completely open is maybe where some of my shyness to not want to stand out comes from. It just made me realize that no, I've spent most of my life sort of being in the shadows, or the wallflower kind of thing, and I just realized that because finding that creative expression, it was like I didn't really want to be seen. So it's an interesting trait to feel the other side of that too. The opposite of wanting to stand out is to just want to hang back here and observe.
Exactly. Really good point, Shelley. Yes. And let's take a look at the celebrity. So the celebrity that we have today is actually an evaluator. And it's Richard Burton. So the life work theme is defiance. You are an individual who attracts society, but is here to protect difference, the fierceness to demand non-interference in any form in order to preserve your uniqueness. So preserving his uniqueness, and not only that, he is an evaluator, so additional uniqueness as well. So he's widely regarded as one of the most acclaimed actors of his generation. He's noted for his smooth baritone voice, and he established himself as a formidable Shakespearean actor in the 1950s. And he gave a memorable performance of Hamlet in 1964. Burton ascended into the ranks of the top box office stars and one of the highest paid actors in the world at the time. And he also remains closely associated in the public consciousness with his second wife, which was actress Elizabeth Taylor. And the couple's turbulent relationship was rarely out of the news. So again, an example of this creative self-expression. All right, now we are going to be in this creative self-expression for a couple more days, but then we shift gears. So let's take a look at next week's theme, and it actually shifts into breakthrough on 11/11. I thought that was kind of cool. So we are shifting into trait 43 of breakthrough. This is insight. This is listening to your own inner voice. So this is something as we go through this week that you'll want to make sure that you're paying attention to and listening to your own inner voice. This is spontaneously transforming inner knowing into unique insight and perspective that can mold awareness into a new structure that can benefit others. This is one of the traits of deafness, meaning that, nothing is more difficult for you than to listen to and to really hear others. And it's a protection from undue influence, right? So you're not externally influenced by others. Insights must first be invited by others to bring the possibility of your new perspective out into the world. So this is a projected trait, right? It has to be recognized and invited in order for people to fully understand it. This is part of the strength of the genius to freak, right? If you bring forth this great idea, but it's over people's head, people are like, what? It's kind of freak, right? But if you wait for the right moment when it's invited, it's brilliance, it's genius. So this is also the fear of rejection. So if you can't articulate or explain your awareness rationally, you can experience mental anxiety. And it takes fortitude to stand behind and explain insights that may seem freakish and completely outside of the norm. All right. So again, we're going to move into the 43. And one of the things to pay attention to as well, it's a little bit small here, but you can see all of the definition. I just wanted to give you a sense of, this is 1111, just all of the definition that is here on 1111. And this is one of the rare traits that when it is in the life work theme, or if it is in the past and future direction, it creates a strength. It creates a strength. So on the other side, we have the 23. So this creates that strength of the 4323. This is the strength of I just spaced this. Efficiency. It's the strength of efficiency. So it's this ability to break through, make things more efficient, make things more effective. This is again that genius to freak, right? It can either seem like a brilliant idea and that you're a genius, or you look completely crazy and look like a freak. So I would love to hear from our panel any insights or anything that you see within the 43 and things to pay attention into in this upcoming week as we move into trait number 43. This trait of breakthrough.
Again,
Yes, Anna.
I can speak to this again. My daughter also has 43. And in her creativity that I've already spoken about, some of the stuff she thinks about or creates is really bizarre. And it's wonderfully creative, but you have to, it doesn't always fit in the norm. She's been marginalized forever. And it's created a lot of anxiety for her. And as she's matured, now she can, sort of accept and process and enjoy some of this inner sound, this inner motive, the voice inside. But it was really hard, especially during junior high, high school, a lot of judgment going on, a lot of need to be in the middle, and she never was, never will be. So, the sensitivity, there's a lot of sensitivity involved in this one. And it can create a lot of anxiety. And if there's conditioning around you in the positive, to go ahead and listen. Don't listen to all those other criticisms. Just hang out with it for a while. It'll make more sense. It'll make more sense to others eventually. That's not the point of it.
Yes, exactly. Beautifully said, Anna. How about for you, Shelley?
I have several people in my family that have this strength, some unconscious, some conscious. Again, my husband has it unconscious. My younger sister has it consciously, though. And I was just chatting with Stephanie on Facebook. She's talking about twin brothers and sisters that she has that are born on the same day as my sister, which is November 11th, 1965. And they all have the 1 and the 4323. Which is really quite amazing. My sister's very uniquely creative and eccentric and kind of very out there in the way she dresses. She's got a particular definite style, the way she decorates her home. It's fabulously beautiful. She has a great appreciation for art and artists and collecting very unique, eccentric people around her even. And quite often, and I was chatting with her about her design recently, and quite often something will come to her and she'll just blurt it out. And we're like, what are you talking about? We have no idea what planet you're even on. And so for her to be able to understand how that works and to wait for that right timing to express herself, waiting to be having all of those great ideas and insights and breakthroughs, but waiting till somebody recognizes and kind of invites her to share them. She's just learning how to do that now. And I think my husband has kind of just learned that over time. he's aware of this creative insight. Again, it kind of works in tandem with the one, I believe, because it's unconscious for him, but he knows it's there brewing. And he's a 4/6, so and in his wisdom years, he tends to be, and his life's work is the way. So he does a lot of retreating and reflecting. And I think that allows him, he's learned over time, or maybe just did this because of his life's work, that he would keep things to himself until he felt like they had brewed long enough, until he was really clear and sure about them. And even now he'll occasionally say, well, I got a really cool idea, but I'm not sure I want to tell everybody about it yet. So he'll run it past me first. And I'm quite open to anything. So, we sometimes ponder it together, and then he figures out how and when he wants to let other people know about it. And learning to wait for that timing when someone asks him for it is kind of the thing I've been teaching him about as well. So I'm fascinated by this. I've seen it in action my whole life. My dad also has had this strength as well. So it's really fascinating.
Wow. Yeah. And Susan, it looks like you have the 43 also. Is there anything, Susan, that you would like to share?
I would just say the deafness and the invitation, waiting to be invited. I think that was the first thing I really had to figure out. And once I was clued in, I was like, oh, wow, that makes all the difference. And then the deafness, I definitely, can be dogmatic about sometimes, about like when I get stuck on something that I think is the right for me idea, or really great or really wonderful. And if, despite the fact that nobody else may agree with me in the moment, I can still stick to my own convictions on that. So, but that isn't always so pleasant for everyone else. But yeah, the invitation is key.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Susan.
Thanks.
Yeah. In having, I do have the 43. I don't have the 23 on the other side. I notice a lot of this mental anxiety of not fully being able to express myself, even in trying to remember the name of the strength. It's like, that's so funny. I don't have what's on the other side, and I'm having a hard time expressing what's on the other side. So I find that quite fascinating as well, just to recognize that mental anxiety when I have all of these ideas in my head, but can't quite articulate them or can't quite get them out in the way, being able to express them in the way that I really want to express them. Yeah. Anything from your perspective, Linda?
Well, I heard beautiful sharing already. I don't have this trait myself, but in working with clients, what I really feel is that I have to encourage them, because they also sometimes don't understand why they think like they do, or why they feel the urge to express themselves like they do. And it takes time. I also use the examples with people that have this trait, but also individual, knowing that there's like a stew pot that you can add all kind of beautiful foods, and it takes time to become a meal. And when you are going to smell things that you feel like, oh, maybe now it's ready, and then people are being drawn to you and invite you to share your meal or something that you have created. But I also feel I have to really encourage them to say, this is beautiful, embrace your individual knowing, embrace what your unique insights are, because they are really beneficial for others to follow or to get inspired. And most of them also have negative reactions and negative things and experiences in expressing their unique insights without being invited. So being invited and having the courage to stick with your own process of, let it something, become something really beautiful. Feels for me is really connected to this trait.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And again, we're going to shift into the 43, again, also with the grounding of the 23. So we'll have this strength of efficiency starting 11/11 and through the next week before we get to our next BG5 live. So I'd like for our panel and any of our guests in our Zoom room to ponder this for a moment. And then what I would love to hear in just a moment is, what should people pay attention to over these next couple of days, still being in a creative self-expression, and even in breakthrough, right? With the 43 and having the 43/23, it's also very creative and individual as well. So I'm going to have you ponder that for just a moment. And again, I just wanted to invite all of you to check out your own BG5 career design. If you are not familiar with BG5, you can get a chart here on the BG5 Business Institute website. You can download your personalized free chart. You can take a look at the chart, see if you have trait 1 or not. And also, do you have 43/23 as well, as we're moving into that as well? And also, if you don't have it, how does it affect you? Also, again, you can subscribe to the trait of the day. So each day you'll get an email that shows you what the trait of the day is, as well as the quality, so you can follow along. My husband and I look at the trait of the day each day and go, oh, did you see the trait of the day? Do you see what's happening? Now things make sense. So it's a really great tool to follow along. It's a really great way, if you're just learning about BG5, understanding and allowing, in a sense, the environment to be one of your greatest teachers, because you start to see these themes show up in the world, in your life, in conversations and things around you. So I invite you to subscribe. Also, we have classes that are starting in January, so invite you to take a look at the upcoming classes. Would love to have you, especially in the foundation course, if you are brand new. So we have a foundation course that is coming up in January. With that, I would like to, again, address our panel and taking a look at this week coming up. What should people be aware of, pay attention to? What can support them in moving through this next week? Who would like to begin?
I'll go.
Yes.
I would suggest, like everybody's already mentioned, creativity and self-expression is not always in the art world. It is in your being. And thoughts, the 43, your the voice and the way you think, that's creative. That can just be fine. You can just be creative in your thoughts. You can, so there's an internal world of expression as well as an externalized expression. And it doesn't have to be one or the other. And timing, if you allow the timing, like Linda was talking about, everybody's talked about already. Part of creativity is allowing the moment to occur. So my suggestion would be to just kind of witness those moments when you have a sense of creativity, whether it's just in your inner world, or whether you're trying to express something, invited to express something, or trying to be an agent for somebody else's expression. All of those factors come out of just witnessing a creative moment and the timing of it.
Yes, beautifully said, Anna. Thank you so much. And how about for you, Shelley?
Yeah, I would add to that. I was thinking about, I'm completely open all through the upper part of my design. So this really, for me, is about paying attention to it in the environment around me, and how I am seeing it show up in other people. expressing themselves. And so I think that's another thing to pay attention to is, as Anna said, noticing for yourself what's coming up internally, but also just keeping an eye out in the world around you for what's going on and how people are creatively expressing themselves, or even just being able to express themselves and express their unique insights about things. Whether they're being invited to express them and how that goes, and when they're expressing themselves when they're not invited to, how that goes for them, because then we get to see all the dynamics of it at play. And so, yeah, I would think that I would encourage people to pay attention to both things. Notice how it bubbles up in you and how you're thinking differently in a creative way, or maybe noticing ways that you are creative that you didn't realize you were creative in, and also noticing in others around you how they may be expressing themselves differently in this next week or so.
Yes, beautifully said, Shelley. Thank you so much. And Linda.
Well, I loved what Anna and Shelley shared. What I really feel is that in the times we are in, on the precipice of a new era, we are heading to more individuality. And I feel like this month and also the activation of these traits give us an opportunity to really feel our own unique self-expression, to feel maybe also our unique insights, because there is so much turmoil, so much distraction in the outside world. I feel like, but what is your place? What is your direction? Because I also saw that the grounding and balance is direction for a couple of days. And also to be, when you are invited in interactions with others, that you are able to share your truth, to share your individuality. And I feel like, we are being pushed more and more toward, becoming our unique selves. So maybe it's also a beautiful time to take a look at your design, to see your own uniqueness play out, and maybe contemplate about that, and also what it brings you, and maybe it will give you new insights of how to express yourself, and maybe even take a new direction or share beautiful insights that were already somewhere inside, because I'm convinced that we know everything, but maybe it will emerge the upcoming week. So pay attention and follow your decision-making strategy in combination with the wait for an invitation.
Yes, beautifully said, Linda. And Moxie wants to express herself too.
Yes. Yeah, because you are shining with your glasses. She feels like,
wait, I need to be the star too.
of course.
Yes. So it really is a time to either tap into that creative self-expression, that time to get that unique inner knowing, and also realize that you may also experience a melancholy as well. You may experience a sadness, and not to make it wrong, but take a look at what is the creativity that's underneath it as well. All right, everyone, have a fabulous week. Express yourself and enjoy the week. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.